Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 10 versus 10 on the sword map, and in this one I'm going to be playing as the 15th Infantry Scots Division. I don't generally play 10v10s too often, but in this one I had actually a really fun time. I was assigned the left side, so you'll see me start to put down troops here as we come towards the beginning of the game. Basically, the best thing about being on the edge of the map is the fact that you only have one flank you have to worry about collapsing. Whereas if you're in the centre and you have a couple of unreliable teammates on either side of you and your flanks collapse, it can be terrible to deal with. However, being on the far left or far right side, generally a little bit easier, so that was quite nice. I waited quite a long time to actually put down my troops as well in this game. Generally, because when I play 10v10s, I like to see where the enemy or my teammates aren't going to be placing their troops before I put my own troops down, just so that I can fill and be a little bit more helpful for my team. Let's just put this to my point of view so we can tell the story of this game a little bit better. Now, this game was actually played before the latest patch and the latest divisions were added, so you're not going to see any of the 12th or the 21st Panzer Division or the 2nd Armoured French Division. We're just going to be seeing the 6 divisions altogether, with 3 91st Luftlandr, 4 12th or 17th SS Panzer Grenadier, and 3 12th SS Panzer on the enemy team. On our team we have 4 2nd Infantry, 2 15th Infantry, one of them being me, and 4 3rd Armoured. So it's all a pretty big sort of variety, honestly. Pretty big split of forces, but either way we are underway, and as you can see at the start of the game, this was my small force that I managed to get down before the game started, and I'm actually starting with quite a lot of armour. This is generally something I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I tend to start with more AT guns and tanks normally, but 2 Honey Stuarts and an AVRE tend to do a lot of damage, so we will see the 3 30 cals of these Honey Stuarts come in handy, along with the large HE value of the AVRE. Now, the AVRE, since the latest update, was nerfed from 18 armour to 15 front armour, so that's something to be aware of. And I guess the other most significant change is that the Humber with the Recon Squad was basically made so it doesn't have AP power anymore, and that obviously makes it useless against half-tracks, really. Although, I guess if you shoot a German half-track in the side armour with HE value, you can generally do some damage. For example, like the 50 caliber machine guns can destroy those half-tracks. But basically it takes a little bit of luck, and obviously you want to hit them in the side armour preferably. I'm just going to speed things up. Honey Stuarts are basically just fast moving up the roads at the moment. My AT gun, just going to drop it off into the edge of this tree patch, and I've got the AVRE following up the Honey Stuarts as well. So first things first is identifying what I'm playing against, and in this case I saw there was Opel Blitzes, so it's probably not going to be a 12th SS Panzer Division, because 12th SS has the half-tracks and generally people will use those at the start of the game, but in this case we're seeing the Opel Blitzes. The way I sort of figure that out is obviously just zooming in when you can just about see them, and it will give you an idea of what the unit is. In Wargame there was a unit viewer where you could sort of view the silhouettes of units in the bottom left, but in this game you just have to zoom in manually. So 2 packs are opening up onto me, and 2 ME109s are coming in, and these are the ones with the 2 rockets, so I know exactly the player I'm playing up against now. It's basically the 91st Luftlandr player, and obviously I can just hover over the portraits to see what player I'm up against. So I know that those are pack 36s and they only have 5 AP power, so what I can do with this AVRE is literally just charge straight towards the AT guns. I know that he's using a lot of Ersatztruppen, so I don't have to be particularly worried about infantry. There may be only a couple of Fallschirmjäger squads if I'm lucky, but he's basically spent over 300 points on aircraft at the start of the game, so I'm pretty certain that he's not really using any heavy infantry. And my suspicions are proved when Ersatztruppen come out the woodwork and get blown to pieces. So my rifles have arrived. I've had to have them a little bit further back than usual because I didn't basically make the ground from the start of the game due to not having my troops on the field, but in this case just got my rifles in a pretty nice position actually to kill Ersatztruppen as they cross out in the open, leaving my command carrier to go and support that while the AVRE just charges towards this AT gun. Trying to move forwards these Honey Stuarts. I've just got them on a move command at the moment because I want to get them as close as they can so they can actually use their 3 30 caliber machine guns. Another Ersatztruppen showed itself here to the AVRE and, well, that gets blown up of course. And now I'm making short work of the rest of the Ersatztruppen. I want to get rid of this AT gun, that's probably the most important thing. These Ersatztruppen really can't do much to an AVRE. We managed to knock out the crew with the Pak 36. But that's not going to penetrate anytime soon. Probably would have been better off with the Pak 36 trying to target one of my Honey Stuarts before it got blown up. We do manage to make the Ersatztruppen there surrender. Now we're pinning down and killing these Ersatztruppen. And now there is a HS-129 in the sky. So, aside from those BF-109s with the 2 rockets, my opponent now also has a HS-129. Focusing very heavily on air at the start of the game. What I'm going to do here is literally just hide my AVRE. I don't have enough points at this point to bring in my own Spitfire to shoot that down. I'm kind of waiting for the next tick, which would be in like 5 seconds for example, and then I'd have enough points to bring in a Spitfire. But unfortunately I was a bit too late for that, and the HS-129 does escape. But yeah, I just kept my AVRE and the Honey Stuart hidden so that he didn't have another target. So here was a really nice place because it was in between the 2 tree lines. Wouldn't be able to see it without any recon. Now the BF-109 is coming in again with those rockets, pinning down my rifle squads. It's not too much of an issue, although he does kill the rifle leader after they get burnt by the flames. The rifle squad on the left though survived relatively nicely against the 2 rockets, just got pinned down. So I'm going to move across this rifle squad to take care of those Ersatz. Now the Humber Mark III is coming up. This is going to be providing my recon for most of the game. Managed to make those Ersatztruppen surrender. And now I've got a couple of extra rifle squad coming up with the command carrier with another replacement rifle leader. Now I've got one of my Honey Stuarts moving up the road following the AVRE. The other one obviously died, so that's the only one I've got left, and that's being followed up by the Humber Mark III as well. Yeah, my AVRE is pretty safe to just drive on. I know that my opponent has invested so much in air that he probably barely has anything on the ground, so I'm literally just taking full advantage of that. Over here you can see I'm using fast move with the Humber to just make the Ersatztruppen surrender. I already pinned them down with the Humber and then fast moved onto them to make them surrender. And here we're going to be spotting an MG34, which was creating the big old seam of the front line there, but as soon as that's gone, I make loads of ground on this left side. And already I've broken all the way through. This is mainly due again to the fact that my opponent invested so heavily in airplanes. Airplanes, I would say, are secondary to most things in this game because they don't help you control the front line. They're only there to necessarily help you break through. I would say generally aircraft are best used more offensively than defensively. And in this case, it's just left him very short on the ground in terms of troops, and now my rifles are having a field day clearing up the Ersatztruppen, and my AVRE is still moving on forwards with nothing in its way. So a couple of recon squads are moving up into position. I've got more reinforcing infantry coming up. Over on this left side, again, even more infantry. Just basically bringing them in to control these hard points on the map. So again, just getting maybe some troops into these buildings, or maybe even the buildings further up if I can. And the idea there is just so that I can hold that territory now that I've made all this ground. The main thing I have to be careful of is pushing too far to the point where I run into all of his reinforcements that are most likely coming down this road, and you can see the front line pushing back towards me at the moment. Take out the MG34 here nicely, which is very good. That again makes us a lot more ground. ME-109 is going to come in and rocket my Humber Mark III, and unfortunately that's going to die to the power of those rockets. And yeah, now I've got a lot of troops on the field. So AVRE is going to bump into a Kubel MG, and well, that's not going to last very long. However, HS-129 going to come in now and pick off my AVRE. In the side armour, HS-129 is going to do the job, and that's certainly what it did. So both my Humber Mark III and the AVRE are now dead. So I kind of lost my armour presence at the front of my Spearhead. However, now moving up with more infantry just to take the positions and hold them until I can get more heavier armour to reinforce. I'm also looking to maybe start pushing right to help my teammate out. Over here these rifles get pinned down thanks to the ME-109, and since there's going to be more airstrikes coming in, I decide to just unload where I am and basically spread out. Over on this left side, Kubel MG going to be opening up onto the command carrier. Command carrier is going to be able to do the job there. I'm just trying to get the command carrier close enough that it's accurate to actually kill that. And I'm also trying to get this Lloyd carrier into the building here with the Vickers HMG so that I can kill the Kubel MG as well. So enemy ME-109 coming in. Again, my opponent focusing more on air force than he is on the ground. So in this case, I've just made a load more ground from killing one Kubel MG. And he brought in an ME-109 to counter that, which wasn't necessarily the best response. Either way, I've managed to get this sort of compound under my control, which is fantastic. These rifles are still pinned down in the open. I would have tried to fall them back, but they would have probably got killed quicker. So I was just kind of leaving them there to delay the rest of my forces. Sounds a bit mean, using them as sacrifice, but sometimes that's what you gotta do. Unfortunately, my command carrier going to go down again to more ME-109s, and you're probably wondering why I haven't got any Spitfires in the air. Well, I have. I've actually just brought them in to kill the HS-129 in the centre of the map. They just aren't really covering the skies over my own troops just yet.
All units, enemy sighted.
But one of the opponents does surrender, one of the SS Panzergrenadier players. We're starting to make some progress. Kubel MG is going to move down the road. That's going to be ambushed by my rifles and the Honey Stewart. They're going to be able to take that out nicely. Moving up my Honey Stewart actually to try and take care of these 258s. And XYZ has come over to the left with some reinforcements in the form of this 76mm gun and some infantry, which is very nice. It's also got a second AT gun on the way. ME-109 is going to be trying to harass some of my forces, but this time the Spitfires are on, well, are about, and they are going to shoot down the BF-109. So I'm just going to split them here so they don't stay so close together, and that way I can use them to shoot down any extra planes that decide to come in and attack me. Finally take care of the 258s, and I've got some reinforcing Stuarts arriving. Now I've got the little Stuart squadron. These happen quite often in games at the moment, where you have a few Stuarts moving forwards together.
Bandit ahead, ready to engage.
Here we have ME-109 coming in, and well, he's going to be going for the rocket strike onto the 76mm AT gun and is going to destroy it. However, my Spitfire's on his tail very quickly, and goodbye to the ME-109. Now both my Spitfires are pretty low on fuel at this point. I want to try and get them out of there, and well, as soon as he passes me by, I take the opportunity to fall back the planes. So I managed to get both my Spitfires out of there, no problemo. But now a HS-129's come in. This was really good timing actually, bringing in this HS-129 as soon as my Spitfires were off the board. because it takes out one of my Honey Stewards very easily. However, XYZ does have a Thunderbolt, and he is going to be trying to chase down the HS-129. I'm not entirely sure if he microed that properly, and unfortunately the HS-129 doesn't go down because of it. Do just lose a Honey Stewart here as well to, I believe it was an AT position. Just quickly check. Oh no, it's actually a Panther D at this point. So we have moved into phase B, and that Panther D coming out there and destroying one of my Honey Stewards. So one of the 12th SS Panzer divisions now coming over to assist the 91st Luftlandr in taking back control. See, I lost 2 of my Stewards now, but my opponent has just left, so that does leave me free to just clean up the left side and then push right. Because generally in 10v10s I don't really see people make up for somebody leaving. They don't like go and take control of that land for them or try and help out. In this case, Novocaine actually came over with his Panther D to try and help out. But I'm using a line of sight here to hide my Honey Stewart from the Panther D whilst still providing fire support onto the Panzergrenadiers. And now I'm bringing up a command carrier with an AT gun. And this 6-pounder is a 2-star 6-pounder. Just going to try and get that into range of the Panther D. However, at the moment it is in range of the Panzer 35. Also the Honey Stewart is, and the Honey Stewart's going to get the kill. Just continuing to pin down these Panzergrenadiers, going to try and move the command carrier towards them to try and make them surrender alongside the Humber Mark III. Yeah, all of my units just nicely spread out at the moment. My 6-pounder is finally in range of the Panther D. Command carrier is actually just going to open up onto the Panzergrenadiers, and we're just going to pin them down.
Right on the mark.
Continuing to bounce off the Panzergrenadiers there, and now XYZ has brought in an M10 for us. That's going to hopefully force the Panther D back for now. So I've still made a lot of ground, but I'm starting to actually bump into quite a lot of resistance. My opponent's planes have gone to another player now, so they're probably using them elsewhere on the map. So I have to maybe worry less about them throughout the rest of the game. And back here you can see another bunch of reinforcements coming up. With every tick I was trying to continue to reinforce. You can see this infantry squad here, these pioneers.
I'm listening, sir.
So currently XYZ is trying to move across with some ranger support and the Ranger Marauders. I've obviously still got these infantry over on the left here, but my original rifle squad I think actually got killed in this forest on the left side. Yeah, what I'm trying to do now is bring up some reinforcements alongside the Humber Mark III and the command carrier to push through and capture this compound. These small farm buildings there look like a good target to push, as I am starting to bump into a lot of reinforcements here. Enemy FW-190 comes in, bombs my 6-pounder unfortunately, but XYZ is on the case with his P-47 Thunderbolts, and the FW-190 is not getting away anytime soon. XYZ does lose his Ranger Marauders. At this point I probably should have noticed this and actually have helped him out with my command carrier. Instead I just come in with a Typhoon and the Spitfire Mark 9 and pin those Grenadiers down. Definitely should have been using this command carrier to support that though. So a little bit of a mistake on my part not assisting my teammate on the left side. Now one of my Spitfires does go down. That was actually over on the far right in the middle. I believe this ME-109 actually shot down my Spitfire as I brought it in to fight against enemy aircraft, just trying to support my team where the front line was collapsing. But either way, I'm still making quite a lot of ground on this left side, so I'm just trying to basically dig in against the reinforcements coming down the road, which are more Panther Ds and the 250-10. And then push with infantry and light vehicles towards this compound. Also got some reinforcements coming up to the left to maybe take control of this compound further up. And well, this Ranger support squad is actually engaging these pioneers, and I'm finally moving my command carrier to help. Up here, the Panther D is not going to get one shot by a Honey Stewart, that's for sure. And the Panther D is going to try and get on target, however it does get blown up by the M10 before he has a chance to take out the Honey Stewart. That Honey Stewart is one of the luckiest tanks alive, because I can just imagine being that crew and looking at that Panther D and being like, what do we do? Then out of nowhere the M10 comes and saves you, so that was rather fun. By the way, the Pioneers here, we do pin them down, and they are currently hidden in this tree. I'm just trying to move forwards the command carriers. I know they don't have an AT weapon. They do have the large AT grenade though. Well, not AT grenade, but HE grenade. But as soon as I get close enough, I'm just going to continue to pin them down and then force them to surrender. Now Humber Mark III is opening up onto enemy infantry, however XYZ is coming in with the P-38 Lightning, and I was very much appreciative of XYZ's cooperation in this game. As you can see, he has actually brought up quite a lot of AA for us, 3 Bofors. He's also using these P-38s to lovely effect, and my 17-pounder finally destroys the Panther D. And this Honey Stewart does get a weapon damage thanks to the Panzerschreck squad, and I'm going to be running away with that in order to resupply it, because with a weapon damage you actually lose all of your ammunition, so you need to resupply that as soon as possible. Now continuing to move right in this one, pushing forwards with the rifles onto these Panzer Grenadiers. Mr. Anderson's actually getting involved this time round with his mortar carriers and helping us pin down those Panzer Grenadiers. So we had like a lovely amount of teamwork going on this left side. XYZ was supporting me alongside Mr. Anderson, and we were having a really good time pushing on this left side. Now I wasn't on comms to either of these people, so it was just a general cooperation throughout the 10v10. We just made a lot of ground all the way up on this left side. As you can see, I'm trying to get all of my units forwards where I can. I do have this Honey Stewart here. I eventually bring that over to the right to assist us. Currently my push towards this compound consists of the Humber Mark III, the command carrier, and these rifle squads. Now the rifle squads are pretty much just bait for the enemy fire, and then the command carriers and the Humber Mark IIIs pin them down and kill them. We do have enemy mortar fire coming in at the moment. But the best I can do at the moment is just kind of spread out, so that's what I'm going to try and do. And I do have some reinforcing infantry coming up in case these rifles get too depleted. I'm moving up my recon here so that I can see all that's coming across down this road and anything that comes down this road here. Bringing up a Churchill 4 basically to help cover the road. However, I was very wary that they are using Panthers, and in this case the Panthers trying to take on the M10, and the M10 is currently losing that fight. Currently these Panzer Grenadiers continuing to pin down my rifles here, but with the reinforcements coming up, these rifles are going to help out. My 17-pounder picks off the Panther, which was very, very nice. That had continued on an attack move order, I believe, to try and take out the M10. Obviously the 17-pounder took full advantage of that with the 2 stars there. I finally reveal enemy infantry in this compound. I highly suspected there would have been, so it wasn't a surprise to me, but I have my command carrier and Humber Mark III in line to try and take them out. My Churchill 4 is engaging this 250-10 alongside the 17-pounder, and now I'm bringing this Honey Stewart across to the right side to intercept that half-track. However, it does go down eventually. I'm swinging across a lot of my troops. All of these troops on the left are pretty much useless if they just sit there. The ones further up are perfectly fine. So I've got a couple of assault pioneers near the spawn, just in case they bring any troops in here, although they probably can't anymore since I've got my command carrier all the way to the end of the map. The idea is that if they get close, well, the assault pioneers can quickly do the job with their large satchel charge. These Panzer Grenadiers happily pinned down, and I'm just going to charge towards them with all the rifles I've got. I'm just trying to make as much ground as I can at the moment, continue to put pressure onto Novocaine, who's trying to hold his flank as well as the front. Basically what's happened here is you can see like all of the players near me, like XYZ, Mr. Anderson and myself, have all sort of come over to this far left side, all the way far up, and basically trying to push from left to right as opposed to just straight up. We should have probably been doing both, and we kind of were with Mr. Anderson bringing up this jumbo. You can see I am supporting in the middle with a few troops here and there. Got a rifle squad and bringing up a AT gun as well, because my teammates were losing quite a lot of ground, unfortunately. So yeah, a couple of AT guns coming up alongside the Daimler Little John Recon and the rifle squad on that far middle side. But over on the left, still doing a lot of damage. Honey Stewart, supported by Assault Pioneers, Vickers HMG and the Rifles Leader, going to quickly dispatch a Panzer Grenadier squad. And this is something that I would definitely recommend. Make sure you have like a good dispersion of units, so these guys are nicely spread. Also make sure that they complement each other, so Honey Stewart's great for supporting infantry. And I also have the Vickers HMG covering this tree line whilst the Assault Pioneers move up. And that's a really good way to do things. Same thing with these rifles moving forwards. If they just went forwards on their own, as you can see, they just get pinned down and nothing happens. Whereas if you have the fire support from the Humber Mark III and the command carrier at the same time, then you can actually pin down the enemy units and continue to advance. So my rifle is getting very close now to the Panzer Grenadiers here. Just going to stop them all and let them fire in order to pin down the squad, and then I can continue forwards with one of the squads in order to make them surrender. But yeah, making a lovely amount of ground at the moment. Still continuing to push to the right. Loads of aircraft coming in the centre of the map currently. Big old furball of aircraft. 4 Ju-88s. Going to be bombing the crap out of XYZ and Hockey Ball. XYZ again, he's also helping in the centre with me at the moment, trying to provide some assistance. I'm bringing up these 17 pounders because they are pushing with a lot of heavy units. As you can see, they've got the Panzer IV, they've got the Panther D, another Panther D, and a Panzer IV. Got Panther II there. So I've got all these 17 pounders basically here to try and take out the enemy units. This 17 pounder on the left already took out 2 units on this left side. It took out the Firefly, it took out the Panther D, and now it's on target to kill the Panzer IV. Loads of airplanes coming in. I'm bringing in my own Spitfire and the Typhoon to try and help with these aircraft. Spitfire does take down an ME-109. My Typhoon's on target of another ME-109. However, their artillery, their AA, is a lot better than ours. And therefore, as you can see, what's happening is as soon as we get over enemy territory, our units get hit quite hard.
Retreat!
I don't actually lose either of my aircraft here. The Typhoon gets away, nice quick aircraft, and the Spitfire also gets away. However, I am now dealing with a lot of artillery in the middle, which is going to be quite detrimental to my AT guns. Meanwhile, over on this left side, see that I am just sort of holding my position in the top left, whilst trying to continue to push through with my rifles near this compound. And we are still making ground here, so that's always good. However, we are still at a +1. Haven't actually made a massive lead just yet, and our right flank is just completely collapsed on this sort of centre side. They've got complete control of the canals, and they're now pushing even into this town here. So I'm just going to be trying to support the rest of the map for the entire of this game. So yeah, my 17 pounder there, you can see it has been hit very hard, and it's now going to be pinned down by the ME-109. I'm actually bringing up some AA here to sit behind this tree line along with the Crusader AA. Panzer IV finally goes down there thanks to Hockey Ball's Wolverines. And we actually took care of most of the larger armour targets on this flank. So that was quite nice.
We're suppressed.
Trying to get this 17 pounder into cover at the moment. And now I'm also bringing over some assistance to this beach. So just bringing up an AT gun, try and take care of some of these panzers. XYZ is bringing in a lot of lightnings at the moment to try and take care of enemy ME-109s. Ju-88 is also a bit of an issue. He's going to be trying to latch onto that to shoot it down. Up in the top left, XYZ is moving forwards with all of his Bofors. And we're actually finding and taking out the enemy Aufklärer here thanks to my recce. Got my 17-pounder ready to go. That's just going to wheel out towards the beach to take out enemy AT guns, or enemy tanks, sorry. And now my AA has arrived, so that's going to help pin down some of these ME-109s that are just flying around freely above us. My 17-pounder was actually destroyed here, so there's no more AT. I've just got rifles really holding the front line. Up on the far left, just taking out some half-tracks here and there. I've got my own Bofors here as well now, and I've got my 17-pounder moving up. Just trying to swing as much as possible from left to right at the moment. You can see these Ju-88s are coming in, and they are getting panicked quite badly by all of the AA. However, they are able to break through and drop bombs onto the enemy, or onto friendly artillery. They are going to bomb both of the M7 artillery, and they don't even get shot down, which was quite a big shame. I did bring in some Typhoons to try and shoot those down. As you can see, the FW-190 as it comes in does get hit very hard by AA and actually gets shot down. So I am just going to use these Typhoons actually to kill off a lot of these Panzer Grenadiers in the end. The idea being that we wanted to stop this push from cutting us off. I'm also making some ground through here. You can see I've moved on from this compound, brought up a crocodile, and now I'm moving on with the Honey Stewart and the command carrier, just spreading out my rifles and making quite a lot of ground almost behind this initial push. But also half of my troops at the moment are currently here, so all of my AA, I've got my infantry squads. As soon as these recon cars come forwards, they will eventually spot my rifles, and that will not be very nice. This 17-pounder was making quite a lot of ground on this side until the Ju-88 comes in with the bombs and destroys it. Otherwise that would have been in a really nice position. HS-129 going to be coming over, try and deal some damage. Going to be going for the jumbo there, and he's going to get the kill before my Spitfire can get on target. Up in the top left, not the Jagdpanzer came along and destroyed my Honey Stewart. HS-129 does go down in the rear as well. Again, more ME-109s coming in, instantly stunned by the Bofors. Unfortunately, you can't force back bombers, so bombers just break through the AA net, continue to their target no matter what until their ordnance is released, and in this case they're going to be bombing some AA and the jumbo to make that pull back versus the Panzer IV there. There's pretty much nothing you can do against those bombers in the majority of the time. However, you can very much stun light aircraft, so for example these ME-109s, they will get stunned pretty simply, and then what you can do is just bring in aircraft from off the map, shoot them down. In this case probably didn't have any to actually take advantage of that, because most of my aircraft were being used on the left or had already been shot down. By the way, still holding ground with these rifle squads, but now a light vehicle push coming in, the SP231s and the 259s pushing round past this hedgerow. Unfortunately, Bofors and the Crusader AA not really going to last too long against all of those auto cannons once they got on target. So I'm trying to get this AT gun into position as quickly as possible. Over on this left side, still holding my ground, not really trying to push up anymore. Again, just holding ground, using the 17-pounder alongside the machine gun fire and so on to get rid of anything that's trying to push back against us. And this was a big mistake from the enemy. They really should have just invested their points elsewhere and tried to break through. Because currently, on the left and right flank, my team is winning very heavily. Over on the far right, you can see they've broken all the way around. Really, really quite far. There's a small pocket of enemies here. They're probably just a couple units. And here, well, my 17-pounder's now having a field day, destroying these light vehicles. So you can see it slowly picking them off, one by one. Gonna break the tracks of the 231. Now I've got a challenger coming up as well.
One more kill. Enemy spotted. Be ready.
And we're just picking off those units one by one. There is an FW-190 coming in with its 4 bombs onto my 17-pounder. Actually, that was just the 1-bomb version. That did unfortunately destroy my AT gun, which did so much work. But my challenger's in position now. Going to be bringing up a second one. But as we are reaching the 2,000 points limit, the game does come to an end. So with 57% territory, although we did lose the centre of the map, we did manage to win the game in 34 minutes and 38 seconds. And there you have it. If we jump to the team scores, you can see I had a huge score in this game. 3,825 kills to 1,945 losses. I got almost double the highest amount of kills on my team. It was pretty crazy. Definitely did a lot of work on the left side, and I was forced to hold the centre with the help of XYZ. XYZ was really, really good support throughout that game, using his second infantry deck to really help me out. It was really, really nice actually to have his support there, especially the Bofors that he brought up to provide AA near their air spawn. That was really, really good. So as you can see, the AVRE at the start of the game did quite a lot of work. Didn't actually pay itself off, I don't think, because, you know, two Pack 36s is 70 points, as that's Troopens are 10 points each, so that's 90 points, and a Kubel MG is probably about 15 points, I think. So yeah, definitely didn't pay itself off. However, definitely made sort of the spearhead because of the enemy not focusing so much on ground forces, which I definitely identified by the amount of aircraft that came out. And it's something that I would definitely say to people to pay attention to. If you are wary of there not being too much on the ground, think of what other stuff they have. If there's, like, for example, 2 Panther Ds on the right flank, and say you're playing in a 1v1, they put 2 Panther Ds on the right, then the left's going to be very undefended because they've just wasted, or not necessarily wasted, but they've just spent over 500 points on 2 Panthers for the right flank. So the left flank's going to be a lot weaker. So push the left flank. And you can definitely take advantage of knowing what sort of points there are on the map and in various places. In this case, you can see a 17-pounder took out a Panther D and a Panther G and a Panzer IV. This was a 17-pounder that took out the Firefly, a couple of Panther Ds and a Panzer IV from that middle push. And you can see I basically killed units from pretty much every player throughout this game. Well, not every player, but at least 4 or 5. And yeah, we definitely did a good job. So there you go. Spitfires definitely paying themselves off. A couple of HS-129s, ME-109s. Really, really nice. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this replay. I thought it was a very interesting 10v10. I think in realistic terms, if the Germans had managed to break through the front line in the centre that hard, then the battle probably would have been lost. However, we managed to hold on, and we managed to keep the territory gain in our favour. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.